Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, our next guest was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2023, and last week she received an apology from the HSE for false negative results on 2 different smear tests, which has ultimately led to a delay in diagnosis.
Please welcome Leona Macken. Leona, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for
coming in.
Honestly, yeah,
reading out
really
a sentence like that is heartbreaking because of the thousands of women who go through smear tests every single day. Can you tell us what led up to your diagnosis?
It was something that I was always aware of, you know. I would have gone for a smear. I think like the whole Jake Goatee thing was a big story at the time when I was younger, and I went for a smear myself. That was the first time I kind of learned about cervical cancer and stuff. And then I kind of went into the system then of cervical check, and I went for my first eligible one in 2013. And that was fine. I was grand. I didn't think anything was going to come back. Kind of got on with my life. Got married, bought our house, decided we wanted to start having a baby. In 2016, I was due a smear then again. And I was like, right, we'll do this before we kind of start planning on having a baby. Went and got that done, came back fine, got on with my life again. And then I had 2 babies. So I had one in 2017, my little girl, and then my second little girl in 2019. And everything was fine. And then I went for another smear in, I think it was 2020. I was actually due while I was pregnant. So I was told to kind of hold off, you know, and wait for the hormones to die down a little bit. So I went in 2020 for that one, and that came back fine as well. And then as the kind of years went on, I kind of started noticing a few little symptoms. Nothing that I was too kind of worried about. Again, I'd had 2 babies. I was thinking I was getting older. My body was changing. And I kind of started going with little symptoms, you know, little pelvic pains and irregular periods, things like that. And we started kind of just doing tests here and there. Again, I wasn't stressing it too much because I never ever thought cancer at all. I thought I'd had all my smears. This is probably could it be perimenopause, polycystic ovaries, things like that were kind of coming into my head. Nothing too kind of serious.
And what, you'd had your last smear in 2020. When was this that you experienced symptoms?
It was kind of about a year before, maybe about a year and a half before. Okay. Again, the symptoms were kind of stacking up on each other as opposed to, you know, I'd get a symptom and then that would go away, or I'd get a symptom. So we were kind of doing blood tests and ultrasound, things like that. And then I had an ultrasound in January 2023 and that came back fine. And then I was due my smear then in 2023. So I went for that, and that was a smear then that came back with high-grade abnormalities. So I think when I got that call then, that's when I kind of went, oh my God, I'm looking at something a lot more serious here, you know. And that's when I was told then I needed to go for a colposcopy. And by this stage, I was looking at the cervical cancer symptoms, and I literally had every single one. And that's when I kind of realised, okay, this is cancer. I kind of had it in my head before I was diagnosed almost. And when I went for the colposcopy, I kind of said it to them on the day. I just said, look, I don't think you're going to give me good news today. And they were like, why? And they were like, when was your last smear? And I said it was 2020. And I kind of knew then. I said, look, they actually done the colposcopy and they were saying normally it's 4 to 6 weeks by the time I come back. Yeah. But they were like, it might be back a little bit earlier. And I was actually going on holidays. So I just said, look, can you just wait till maybe I come home from holidays to give me a call? Because I just knew. So they actually rang me the last day of my holidays and they were like, are you home? And I said, look, I'll be home tonight. And they said, can you come in the morning with your husband? So I knew I wasn't going to go in and be told, you know, you're doing amazing. Yeah. So by the time I went into that appointment, I was already on to the next thing. I was thinking, what's next? Okay, what stage could I be? What's going to happen? So when I went into that appointment, I actually asked them, are we looking at a hysterectomy here? And they said, yeah, we think we are, but we don't know what stage or anything. We need to do further tests and we need to do CT scans and stuff like that. So that was in the June in 2023, and then I was in for a hysterectomy then in the July. So it all happened really quickly. It was 4 weeks later.
I know you know you have cancer, but when you're told you're having a hysterectomy, it's a lot.
It was a lot, but I was like, just get this out of my body. Okay. Let's just get this done, you know, and whatever I have to do, I'll do it, And I kind of thought, look, we were confident enough. They said I was stage 1B2 and we'll do the hysterectomy and it should be okay. And I was like, right. And then when I came out of the hysterectomy, they kind of said, look, we had to look at lymph nodes and stuff, and we took lymph nodes, and then I found out after that there was lymph node involvement. So then I was up to like stage 3C1. And that's when they kind of started talking to me about chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and those words to me then were like cancer, like, you know, and I was like, this isn't over.
How quickly after that, sorry, were you...
About 9 weeks after my
9
hysterectomy, I
weeks.
went into treatment, yeah.
And did you feel that they were listening to you at this stage?
I felt like, I kind of felt like they were listening to me to a certain extent, but again, I was like thinking, how did this happen? You know, I would ask like, how did I go from a perfect smear in 2020 to now I've cancer in 2023? And a part of me was almost afraid to ask the hard questions as well, in case I almost upset someone or offended. You know, I was almost afraid to kind of, so I would sit at home and go, like, I need to look into this. You know, I had a lot of questions myself. And that's when I kind of started looking into it. When I was at home recovering from the hysterectomy is when I did actually look into, and that's when I contacted Keano Carrolls and Siobhan Marine, and they were amazing, and they kind of talked me through things like the solicitors. Yeah.
At what stage did you find out that this has progressed from stage 1, 2, 3? This has become stage 4 and incurable.
Yeah, so in 2025, just this year in January, I actually contacted him. So 2024, I was in a lot of pain. Yeah. After the treatment first time around, I was convinced myself I was getting better. I was like, I'm feeling a bit better.
And were they saying you were getting better?
Yeah, they were kind of saying, like, you know, the radiotherapy has side effects. At this stage, I was also in menopause. I'd had a hysterectomy. I'd had chemo. There was a lot of things going on in my body. It was hard to pinpoint what was causing what. I had a lot of different symptoms. Yeah. So it was really hard to kind of go, okay, this is what is causing this, and this is what. So, but as much as it was hard to say, I was trying to articulate it as much as I could to each consultant that I went to. And yeah, it was a bit of a mess, but again, I was trying my best to kind of say, who do I say this to? Who do I say that to, you know? But yeah, I think in 2025 then is when it all came, like this year is when it all came to head. Then the pain got too much in 2024. I was living on painkillers, like I was getting pain injections. I was, you know, I kind of was thinking, God, if I have to live with this, how am I going to manage it? You know, if this is pain that I'm going to have to now live with from all these side effects, what am I going to do to manage it? Like, so I was climbing the pain, the ladder of painkillers and trying different things. And then in January, I just rang them and I was like, look, you have to see me. I'm just in too much pain. And that's when I went in for the appointment then. And I just said, can you just feel my stomach? Like I had a lump on my stomach at this point. And that's when they kind of said, look, we need to do a CT scan. And then it just all kind of kicked off again.
And what happened then? What were you?
I was actually, like, that was the appointment where I was kind of starting to get frustrated. I was like, look, I've been saying how much pain I'm in, you know. And I think as well, being a hairdresser, I'd go with my hair and makeup done and stuff, and I'd be real chirpy, and, you know, and I was like, I'm in so much pain. And it probably didn't look like I was in as much pain as I was in, you know. And yeah,
What the diagnosis was, you got a diagnosis of incurable.
Yeah, so
cancer.
I went in for that appointment. Then they just said, look, it's back and it's stage 4. And I said, what can be done? Can we do treatment? And they said, possibly chemo, but it will be just to keep it at bay. And that, for me, was the appointment that just floored me. I just felt like I tried to do everything to stay on top of it for so long, and I felt like I was chasing it for so long, and
you've done everything
it was
right.
just not good enough. I didn't. I felt like I just let myself down. I didn't win, and it was soul destroying, and it was gut wrenching. And yeah, my husband, I think, fell into the chair. I, at this point, was still in shock, you know, and we left that. I just wanted to get out of the appointment. We left and we just sat in the car and we just cried and cried and cried and cried. And then I had to go home and tell my parents. And, you know, I think, look, for me, looking at my kids, and just all I could see was what I was going to miss, you know, or what I wasn't going to be there for. And
this is Alan, you, Quinn and Drew.
Yeah, yeah.
The girls are just 8 and 6. To be going, and to have been going through that pain as well, with them to see their mum in pain.
Yeah,
and
they've
suffering.
been brilliant. I mean, they've been absolutely amazing. Drew was the younger one. She was really young when this all first came about, so she doesn't really know any different than Mammy going for medicine or going to the doctors. Quinn will ask a lot more questions. Now, Drew is starting, like, she's turning 6 now next week, so she is starting to kind of notice and ask questions and stuff. But I can only protect them from so much, you know, and it's happening in their home, and I can't stop that. Like,
getting your head around, like trying to sit here, get my head around the timeline of you going for your smears, having 2016, having your babies, being in pain and discomfort from 2018, 2019, having another clear smear in 2020, and then next thing in 2023 being told you've got cancer, doing all the things that you have to do, and then going, I still don't feel right, but they're like, we're fighting the cancer.
Yeah.
And then being told you're incurable just a few months ago.
yeah.
Like, saying it out loud, just I can't imagine how angry I'd be. I want to shout at the sky. I want to shout at everyone.
I did have a lot of anger at the start. I think when I was first asking questions is when I had the most anger, because I knew I'd done everything and I was so confident that I'd done everything. But I had to let go of it because it was just ruining now. And I just thought to myself, like, all I have is now, and all any of us have is now. And like, I just wanted to kind of let go of that somewhat and just do what I could do. And I think even by me kind of talking about it, if I can bring anything positive from it, I really want to stress as well, like, I'm not the only person this is happening to. I'm not the only family this is happening to. It's still happening to. I've had families come forward and talk to me, and, you know, and I really do appreciate that. But I'm not a lone wolf here, you know, and that's a scary thing. These are abnormalities that are on slides that are very obvious, that should be detected and aren't be. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is it's not like a false negative, or, you know, my slides were very obvious and they were reported as normal. And time is everything with cancer. And if I had been told this in 2016 or 2020, I would be living a completely different life today. Like, that's what's hard to accept, I think, you know.
You took legal action against the HSE. You got an apology from them.
I did, yeah.
Which the likes of Vicky Phelan, people didn't get that apology.
Yeah.
We have a statement here from them as well. They said they deeply regret the challenges Miss Macken and her family have faced. While screening aims to detect cancer early for as many women as possible, it is regrettable it does not do in all cases. Since 2023, women can request a personal review of their screening via the personal cervical screening reviews. Dr. Scally's 2022 report reaffirmed the programme's quality and life-saving potential. It continued to say that they are constantly seeking to improve the services and urged all women to stay vigilant, which you did, of your symptoms regardless of screening history. You said you're not angry. You have two young girls. It's the fear, and you did everything right.
It's the absolute fear. It's so scary. I mean, every single day I just look at them and I think, you know, how are they going to be without me? And like, I'm not giving up. I know I probably sound crazy, but I've looked into everything. I'm still looking into things, and I'm not giving up. Like, and I if I could get to the other side of this, I mean, what an amazing story it would be. But I mean, at the minute, it's to get as long as I possibly can, I think.
You've been years, you have been told, no one can give you any timeline.
No, they just don't. Kind of said, like, hopefully years, but short years.
Did the apology matter to you?
Yeah, it did. And I know a lot of people were kind of saying to me, you know, what's an apology now? But so many women before me didn't get it and absolutely deserved it without even having to ask for it. I asked for it, kind of put it to the back of my mind because I didn't want to be too upset if I didn't get it. But it acknowledged my story as well, and it confirmed that everything, like, it validated what I was saying as well. And even the wording of it was really important to me as well. I think I was kind of thinking, will I get half an apology, or will I be happy with the wording? But I was.
You did. You got a full apology. In relation to all of this, your screening, your tests were sent to a lab in America.
Yeah.
We have been promised a screening lab. Vicky Phelan, before she died, Lindsay, so many of them were promised this screening lab that would be happening here in Ireland in the Coombe. It was meant to be opened. Of course, there has been delays. What do you make of what's happening? Like,
again, I'm just one person, and I'm kind of learning a lot of this as I go as well, like, you know. But I mean, there's something not right. Something has to be, like, there's changes have to be made somewhere. It's not good enough. I mean, we can't just keep letting this happen families, and, you know, does there need to be more checks? Do we need to bring back the auditing? Like, what can be done? We know it shouldn't be happening. That we know, but why is it happening is the question. That's the main question. Like, and I don't know. I don't have all the answers, and I'm really trying. And I think I'm that's why I'm doing this, is because I want to bring a positive effect to this. And And I'd like to be here to see something positive come of it as well, you know.
You said you wanted to sit one-to-one, woman-to-woman with the Minister for Health. Just to show you're not a statistic.
Exactly. I don't want to be a statistic. I want them to see there are people behind these. There's stories, there's families, there's, you know, daughters, there's children, and it's it's my life. I don't get a second chance at this. I don't get to come back and try again. It is what it is. These are the cards I've been dealt with now, like, you know, and I have to deal with that.
For anyone who's, I suppose, when you think you've got small problems and you see what you're going through, Alan has been looking at you, your husband, the whole way. The love in his eyes, everything that you're doing together. Obviously, it's been so hard.
Yeah, he's been amazing.
You've got your family, you've got your girls. Regardless of how long it is, I know you're going to keep on searching to stay as long as you can.
Absolutely.
And you're living your life.
Yeah, I really am, yeah.
I don't know what. Thanks so much.
No, thanks so much.
It can't be easy doing this, and we really appreciate it.
I'm not used to all this at all. But look, if it helps anyone, then I'm more than happy to do it.
You do believe in the programme, though? You think
I do, yeah.
You do.
I would never tell someone not to do it, and my girls will definitely be getting the vaccine and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Leona, thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Listen to your little girls as well, and of course to Alan, who's here as well this morning. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
It's just amazing. So
Leona
brave.
Macken, thank you so much. You're amazing. You're amazing.